Carter, we'll start with my team. Michigan beats St. John's decisively in the opener for the Gavitt games. 89-73 was the final score here. I see that you are cracking a beverage right now. Dug McDaniel had 26 points. He had 7 assists. He had 6 rebounds. He was 8 for 16 from the floor. Namari Burnett had 21 points. He had 15 points before the first media timeout. Terrace Reed, 11 rebounds. Terrence Williams, 12 points, 2 threes. Kamal was 2 for 2 from 3. Will Cheddar with 10 points off the bench. It's a team effort right now for the Wolverines. Everybody looks good. And this was truly a beatdown. After being a really entertaining game for the first 10 minutes, it became a maize and blue beatdown. Your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts, first of all, are I'm a little bit disappointed in you because this was a performance that is worthy of a Chug McDaniel. So
wait. I'm sorry. We defined it as 20-8.
I thought it was just if we thought it was a Chug McDaniel performance, we just call it that.
Is it subjective?
I mean, did he not have, what did he have, 26?
He had 26, 7, and 6, but I was like rooting for one more assist down the stretch.
26, 7, and 6 in the Garden?
In the Garden.
Go get one. Go get one. I'll talk while you go get one. That is a Chug McDaniel performance. Like, what? I'm a little bit disgusted that Gregory didn't think that was worthy of a performance. But before he does get back, I'll just kind of comment on what he said as well. Michigan looks really fun, man. Like, really, really fun. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily going to lead to – I'm not going to put a ceiling or a floor on what their success is going to be. But that team is really fun, and they are good. Like, if you don't think that Michigan is good right now, I think that you're showing a little bit of bias. I think that you can firmly say that this team is fun and that this team is good. And credit to everybody on Michigan. I was actually going through the roster once Robbie Hummel tweeted it, and Greg was talking about it offline. Literally every player on Michigan has put in the work this summer, obviously, because they have gotten better. Terrence Williams has gotten better. Dug McDaniel has gotten better. Terrace Reed has gotten better. Even guys like Namari Burnett, Will Cheddar, better. Like, the guys are getting better. And it's credit to them for putting in the work, and it's showing right now. And despite what you want to say about beating Ken Pom ranked 60th team or whatever it is, that was an impressive win. They dog walked them too, by the way. They didn't squeak by. It got out of hand. It got to 10 at the end of the first half, and they did not look back. And Doug was talking his shit, and it was a lot of fun to watch. So yeah, Michigan fans should be excited about their basketball team because I think they're going to be a fun team moving forward. I do still have question marks, but every team has question marks, though. That's not even a slight to them.
Let's do your questions. Let's do the Chug McDaniel, and then I want to do your questions because I don't want to just praise heaps of positivity on this team. I want to talk about like actual. Are there some holes here?
Okay, yeah, we can. All right, so here goes
Chug McDaniel.
This is to Chug McDaniel right here. All right, ready? To Chugs.
Woo! I think us saying that we get to define what a Chug McDaniel is going to lead to a lot of Chug McDaniels.
8, 4, and 4, but it was a very emphatic 8, 4, and 4 Chug McDaniel. Like you were probably right putting 20 and 8 on it.
Where this starts for me is I think you were right to lead. This team's fun. This team's entertaining more so than good. That's where this starts. Like, Michigan has had 2 straight really talented teams. I wouldn't define either of them as fun. They've been sending guys to the league left and right. I wouldn't define any of them as fun. Like, that's been the problem with the Juwan Howard era, has been like, damn, there's a lot of talent. Why aren't they more cohesive? Why aren't they better? Why aren't they just more fun? Mm-hmm. And in walks our 5'9" savior. Like, this kid is just meant to be like a basketball adrenaline lover's favorite player. I don't care who you are. Like, you and I always say, we find a team every year, we gravitate toward them, and we become fans of that team. Last year was Arizona. This year we've said it's Creighton. Straight up, no bullshit. If this team wasn't wearing Michigan uniforms, this would be our team. It would be. You and I would be in love with Dug McDaniel together. And I'm so happy I get to experience that selfishly myself, because I haven't felt this way about a Michigan basketball team in a really long time. They play such a fun style of play. And truly, when you're talking about like, how does Michigan play? Why are they fun? All due respect to everybody else on the team, the reason they're fun is they're playing through Dug. Like, it doesn't matter who you put around Dug. If Dug McDaniel's playing 38 minutes a game with the ball in his hands, it's going to be electric from start to finish, and everybody's going to play well off of him. So that's where it starts for me. It's exciting. They are very good. Offensively, this team is ridiculous right now. I mean, I don't know if the shooting's going to last forever. I'd assume it's not. I would assume they just have a clunker soon. But like, I mean, Kamwa was quiet offensively tonight. He was still efficient as hell. He was still making. You see that? I know you loved that entry pass from him from the top of the key over the top. Like,
those, you're talking about the what for the Cheddar dunk?
Yeah, he threw it to Cheddar.
Yeah,
Cheddar had the seal. Like, that is such a tiny little play that unless you watch the full game, you're not going to ever pick out and notice. But Olivier Kamwa makes a play like that 12 times a game, and that's just winning basketball. He makes everybody else better. Like, he's making Will Cheddar look good because he's a good passer and he's a smart guy. Namari Burnett, I think, is a big recipient of that. Namari went nuclear in the first 5 minutes of this game, had 15 points, but like, I don't think Namari's ever had easier looks than he got in the first 4 minutes of tonight's game. Like, it started with a wide open three. Then he had a couple of just like wide open curls. Like, he was hooping, but everything was wide open because Michigan's offense was getting him great looks. So I think the offensive ceiling is through the roof. I think they have some very serious defensive concerns, and I want to turn it back over to you for the unbiased like leadership of where we go with this conversation. Because if you have some concerns, I'd like to have you steer and we can discuss them.
Okay, yeah, and like I said, because I do want to make this unequivocally clear in the terms that you like to put it, every team has problems. So this is not me putting on my Michigan hater hat. This is literally me. This is what I would do if I had some question marks about a team, because you're always looking to improve. One, I think the issue would be that because Dug is so great and because everything is happening because of Dug, there is a lot of emphasis on one, Dug playing well, but also like Dug is so high usage that he might end up getting, tired eventually. Like, you might wear him out because of the depth issues, I think, especially at the guard position. I think, as far as wings and bigs, like, you guys have other guys you can rotate in. You have Cheddar, you have Williams, you have Trey Jackson. There's guys that you can rotate in. At the guard position, I mean, you have George Washington? Really, that's it, right? Who's the other guard or wing that comes in?
Right now, it's just George Washington, who played 5 minutes tonight. Jalen Llewellyn supposedly will be back this year in a backup role, but nobody knows when.
I think that Jalen Llewellyn coming back and being solid will be extremely massive for Michigan's success moving forward, because I think they need some type of depth at the point guard position. The second thing I'll say as a question mark is that it was so funny to me watching Pitino and St. John's like press Dug McDaniel like that little monster and menace doesn't thrive in that setting. Like, why are you trying to press that, man? You're playing right into his game. You're letting him use his speed and his playmaking ability, and he made that press and those guards on that St. John's team look absolutely stupid in that game with what he was doing. I think it looks a lot different if you can make this Michigan team a half-court team. And I think that there is a defensive team out there who can beat them in the half court. Now, I think they actually have the players to do it. Like, I think you can still run your pick and rolls with Dug. They still got Olivier in the fold. And you still got shooters with Namari Burnett on the outside. So I'm not saying that
Terrence Williams.
Terrence Williams, yeah.
Throw him in the shoot. I just want, like, how crazy it is that we're throwing him in the shooter circle, but we are. Like, he's good.
Yeah.
He's good right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, we are. So, like, it's just like, I'm not saying they can't score in the half court, but it's like I'll compare it to what we said with the Lions game the other day. It was good to see the Lions win a different way. Like, so far, Michigan has just won games because they've just been offensively special. And is that going to continue? It might. I doubt it continues at this rate. That would be like a historically great all-time offense. I don't think they can do that. I don't think that's sustainable. I think that's fair to say. So I'm just interested to see what like I guess their zag looks like instead of zigging, to bring back a classic sleepers term. And then lastly, just the defense in general. I'm genuinely shocked that Michigan's defense isn't better because I mean, me and you talked about it coming into the season. Like that was what we're like, they're gonna hang their hat on. We're like, Michigan's gonna hang their hat on defense and they're gonna win games nasty sometimes. They're gonna win games 58-50. That ain't happened. They're putting up 50 points a half now. So it's just like, and so it hasn't affected them yet because they've been so prolific offensively, but the defense definitely needs to be cleared up. And the main concern about that for me is Terrace. For some reason, Terrace looks lost defensively this year. You pointed out to me in text messages, and it really got me watching it. Like I just think of him so highly as a defender, both in the pick and roll and just in general. And he just doesn't seem as connected defensively, I guess the word I would use. I don't know. He just seems kind of lost. So those were like the 3 question marks I would put forward. But at the same time, like you're a 3-0 basketball team right now, and you've made every opponent put in front of you to this point, despite what you think about them or where they're ranked or whatever, look silly. So it's something you can hang your hat on.
Yeah, I think you hit on a lot of the key points, starting with the defense. It definitely starts with Terrace Reed looks clueless. And I am very high on Terrace. I think of the 5 starters, Terrace has played the worst through 3 games of any of the 5 starters. I still think there's a case that at the end of the season, Terrace is one of the top 2 players on this team. And the defensive thing with him is weird because I feel like we saw it play out in real time tonight of like, this guy should be an elite defender individually because his feet move crazy for how big he is. He's quick. He can out muscle you. He can go right through you. He's a great rebounder right now for the most part. He had 11 boards tonight in 25 minutes, but he was just like out of position constantly tonight. Like I would look up and like, oh, why did St. John's just get 2 straight offensive rebounds? Oh, it's because Terrace Reed's like in the first row under the hoop. And he wasn't even like attempting a shot block or anything. He was just kind of like watching the play from under the hoop. I couldn't really follow why that kept happening. It was a lot better in the second half. So whatever they did at halftime seemed to improve the defense. Whether that was just effort, X's and O's, I don't know. Somebody in the Hoops forum, I laughed harder at this comment than I have in a long time, said it looks like on a possession-to-possession basis, Terrace Reed is just quietly picking what pick and roll coverage he wants to play and not telling anyone. It makes a lot more sense. Like if everybody else guesses right, then it's like, okay, they look great. If not, Terrace is way out of position. But I think it's fixable is the thing. Like I don't think I would point to anything on the Michigan defensive side right now and say like that's backbreaking. It's not going to get better. It's more just like Terrace needs to get in the right spots, and hopefully they can coach him through that. The other element of the defensive stuff to me is it's definitely fatigue related. And tonight, Dug played 38 minutes. Namari Burnett played 35 minutes. This was a game that was a blowout much of the second half. These guys didn't get a breather. And when they did get a breather with 4 minutes left, St. John's went on a 4-0 run with a press, and they had to put Dug right back in. And he got hit in the head shortly after. So you're right. Like, I wanted to make a joke about it, truly, because I think Jalen Llewellyn is one of the worst basketball players that's ever put a Michigan uniform on. But it like when he's back, it does help them, as crazy as that is. Now, I don't want that in 15 minutes just because he's back. But if Doug's going to play 38 minutes and 2 minutes are going to someone, it should go to Llewellyn and not George Washington for those 2 minutes. That can help the team. With that said, depth in general, I'm feeling okay about it with this team. I'm feeling okay. And it's going to sound stupid. I know. Will Cheddar's doing things. He's doing things. He's not like, I'm not advocating he ever starts. I'm not advocating he's some killer. But for a bench forward, he's given me everything I could ask for right now. He's a threat to hit open threes. He is rebounding. He's finishing when dudes create plays for him. He's just catching and finishing. I'm convinced he can do all of this now in like a 10-minute roll off the bench as a forward. That's huge because when you use him and you use Trey Jackson, now you have 2 guys you know can play bench minutes across the 3, 4, 5. So it really is just guard depth, and hopefully George Washington III can come along a little bit. I do think like it's not anywhere near the level of Dug, but I do think Namari Burnett can survive as a backup point guard. Like if worst case scenario, I think Namari could play 8 to 10 minutes a game as a backup point guard, as long as the other guys are good enough. But it's certainly not what you want. It's a huge ask of Dug. And luckily, Dug has been up for the challenge thus far. But yeah, you're right. Like he's one, I mean, knock on wood, he's one injury away from this entire season going in the tank. So I have a Dug question for you, though.
Mm-hmm.
Be honest with this answer.
Mm-hmm.
And the grade matters here. When you're drafting Dug as a result to my question here, you're drafting Dug for, in theory, the next 3 years. How many point guards are you taking over Dug McDaniel in the country?
In the country?
In the country. How many point guards in the country would you take to be the centerpiece of your team going forward from starting tomorrow through however long this player has eligibility left? How many guys in the country are you taking over Dug McDaniel?
Okay, last question before I answer this. Like, if I say Isaiah Collier, am I getting him just as long as I'm getting Dug?
Yeah, because Isaiah's going to the league. Isaiah Collier's going to the league in 1 year.
So I got to factor in that I could get 2 or 3 more years of Dug, and I only get 1.
Yeah, I think the way I'm approaching this, in theory, Dug is going to be in a Michigan uniform the next 3 years. I don't think he has an NBA future at his size. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's part of the question. How many guys in the country would you take over, theoretically, Dug McDaniel?
I mean, I'd still take Braden Smith right now over him.
Starting a roster from scratch, though? From scratch? Because I will tell you right now, Braden Smith does not make this Michigan team better if they swap with Dug McDaniel.
You don't think?
I don't know that Dug makes Purdue better either. Like, I think Braden is perfect for what Purdue needs.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, Michigan needs a guy who can go get you 26, 7, and 6.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody.
It's because I know the answer, Cart. It's because we both know the answer.
Is there no one?
I don't think there's a player in the country at the point guard position that you would take over 3 years of Dug McDaniel if you're building a program.
Okay, yeah, because you're getting 3 years of Dug. Okay, yeah, that makes. I mean,
but like that, he's the most valuable asset.
To be honest, though, once you say like I'm getting 3 more years, I mean that really cuts at the knees what point guards we're talking about here.
I mean, but go down the list. Like, if Dug wasn't that good, you would say, yeah, give me 1 year of Tyler Kolek. Let's see what happens, right? Like,
oh, I would still like 1 more year. I'd still like 1 year of Isaiah Collier over 3 of Dug.
Okay, I think that's crazy.
Depending on my team.
I think that's crazy because I think if Dug and Isaiah Collier line up for a game in the second round of the NCAA tournament, I know who I'm rocking with.
Who?
You know who I'm rocking with. I'll go to war for this kid. I'll die. I'll die sometime.
Yeah, and you might, and you in that game. Unfortunately, I think you would die. I think Isaiah Collier would have Dug in hell.
We'll find out. Has Dug been in hell once this year?
No, but let's go through the point guards that Dug has played this year.
No. I heard that Jordan Dingle was pretty big time. Number 1 transfer guard in the portal is what I heard.
I mean, were you high on Jordan Dingle?
Not tonight. I wasn't.
I don't think you ever have been, really.
I said he was good. I wanted Michigan to go get him.
Oh, okay. Really?
Yeah.
I thought you were against Ivy League transfers.
I am. Dingle's good.
Oh, okay.
A really impactful 10-1 tonight from Jordan Dingle.
Yeah.
Good.
Fuck it. Dug for the Bob Cousy Award.
I'm not saying that. I'm just like, I think it's a fair question to ask at this point when you're thinking about like who do you want
I mean, yes, it's really tough because I'm going through the list and I'm okay. Is Trey Alexander going to the NBA?
He's not a point guard. Stephen Ashworth is point guard.
Okay.
It's okay to say this, Cart. Like it's okay to just acknowledge, like
no. I'm just thinking. I just want to make sure I'm covering my bases here, please.
It's like not only is Dug super fun though, he's just like really, really good. That's all this is. Like that's it, like because the first 2 games were like, oh, he might be kind of good. He's really fun. Now it's like, no, he's no brand. He's a dog. He's one of the best point guards in the country right now, and he's probably in a Michigan uniform the next 2 full seasons after this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's program changing, man. It's program changing. Last point I want to make on Michigan, then we can move on. Here's why I think the offensive stuff is somewhat sustainable. Even though I get like they're just shooting the lights out and they're not going to make threes like that forever. Here's why I think it's semi-sustainable. Through 3 games, and if you add the scrimmage exhibition stuff that we heard from reliable sources that were in the gym, it's been different guys every game. And I think that it's not necessarily always hot shooting if one of your 5 guys shoots well. Like, that just means you're a good shooting team. And more often than not, you're going to have one guy shoot well. Like, some nights it's 2, some nights it's 3. But like tonight, Olivier Kamwa was not super impactful offensively. He took 5 shot attempts. He scored 9 points. And Michigan hung 89 in a road game in the Garden. Like, that's what this offense is capable of, even when their best or second best player is not clicking like that. Terrace Reed, 5 points tonight. He hasn't gotten going at all offensively as a center. So, like, tonight it was Nimari Burnett. We said it on the show yesterday. Nimari Burnett was the only player that didn't get going the game before this. Like, Trey Jackson right now is the only player in real games that hasn't gotten going. And supposedly he was their best player in the exhibition game. So I just think they kind of got a lot of offensive dudes is where I'm at. And I don't think it's like, oh, the whole team shot the lights out. I think every game right now, someone's going crazy because they play up tempo and Dug gets them the ball in good spots. And more often than not, someone's going to hit shots in this offense.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's not sustainable. I'm saying that the level it's at right now, there's not a guy who's missing.
Yeah, no, I think there is, though. That's the thing is like tonight, there were guys that missed.
I mean, but you had Dug. Well, I guess, are you saying Dug didn't shoot well tonight?
That's a different question. He didn't shoot well. Look, man, this is crazy to say. I don't think Dug played great tonight. I think he played good. Great in the second half, maybe. His first 6 minutes this game were horrible.
Yeah, the rest of it was pretty great, though.
I thought it was good. Fine to good for Dug. Like, I don't think he like really controlled the game like that until the end game of it, you know? Like, and I know that sounds crazy, but I don't think, other than Nimari Burnett, I don't think anybody shot crazy good tonight.
Okay. So that's why you think it's just, you just think that the offensive, it's not even just shooting. You just think the offense in general is sustainable.
I think if one guy every game goes nuclear and it's a different guy every game, that probably means your team is just good.
Okay, but here's where I'm coming from. And this is me putting my fake coach hat on. I see a team. I put them as like a snake or something, or a reptile, whatever the term it is. There's a clear head of that animal in Dug McDaniel. And I would like to see what it looks like when that head is cut off, basically. Because I think that you can do some stuff to game plan for Dug.
Is that not what happened the first 4 minutes of this game, though?
Yeah, but who knows with St. John's, because they're so goddamn gimmicky. By the way, let's not even get started on St. John's and what I've been saying about Pitino all goddamn summer. I mean, all that's happened so far is he's lost to a D2, and then he gets ran at MSG, which is supposedly supposed to be his house. And after that, he's still getting features on features on features, and Pitino this and Pitino that, and he's opened up stock market exchanges after sucking it up.
All right, we get it. I think you saw that early. I think St. John's whole game plan in the first 4 minutes was take Dug out of the game. I think they did take Dug out of the game. I think Dug took himself out of the game. Nimari Burnett had 15 points before the 12-minute mark.
Right.
I like that. That to me is what, if you're going to say we won't let Dug beat us, then okay, Nimari Burnett's going to get open shots. He had 15 by the 12. And I know that's not going to happen every game, but like again, this reminds me of the Michigan teams 10 years ago where like they just had good players everywhere. So if you said we're going to take Trey Burke out of the game, then Tim Hardaway Jr. hit shots. If you said the next year we're going to take Nick Stauskas out of the game, then Karis LeVert hit shots. And none of these guys individually are that good. I get it. But Kamwa will go if he needs to go. Like if you're going to just say, let's take Dug out of the game, Kamwa will go and he'll get other guys open shots. The team's good and they have multiple options and they share the ball and everybody got better at shooting. Like sue me, Terrence Williams became a real asset. What am I supposed to do about that? Not admit it? Like, the guy looks good. The team's good now. And by the way, everyone who told me Trey Jackson was some higher ceiling player, sit down. Sit down. Okay. Trey Jackson played 11 minutes tonight. I hope he turns it around. Terrence Williams played 36 great minutes tonight. Like that dude earned his spot, man. It's impressive as hell to me. And I tweeted about it. I really do think it's a pretty cool redemption story from a guy that his own fan base, everybody turned on him. Like, I'm happy for him. I've been loudly critical of him. He's never been my favorite player. He never will be my favorite player. But I think he deserves a lot of credit for, like, the staff went out and tried to replace him 3 different times. And now here he is playing 36 minutes, scoring 13 points a game on a team that looks damn good.
Good basketball team.
Okay. All right. You want to go to your turtleneck wearing favorite coach in the country?
Yeah, I'm just glad we're moving on, because it was starting to get in a dark place for me where you started pulling out this team could do the same things that Trey Burke and those other guys did comparisons.
Well, they can't do that. I'm just saying, if you're going to play the let's take one guy away game, like, those teams were just good. You can't, good teams, you can't take someone away.
But to me, that was working for St. John's because Namari Burnett was going nuclear and they were still in the damn game.
That's because St. John's didn't miss a shot the whole first 6 minutes. The rest of the game was who kept making shots and who didn't. Michigan kept making. St. John's didn't.
Yeah, well, St. John's really aided that by the gimmicky bullshit they do. But anyways, let's
Good
move
team.
on to
Good team.
Who is?
Michigan.
Yeah, they are for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Who's better, St. John's or James Madison?
Who's better, St. John's or James Madison?
Yeah. They play on a neutral 7 times. What's the results?
7 times, probably split.
Okay. I'm perfectly comfortable with that.
Yeah, probably split.
Michigan dog walked their opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You want to move on?
Sure.
Okay. On the road, mind you. Let's not forget that. At the Garden, at the Mecca. With their coach in the bowels, by the way. He's watching that on a flat screen. When can we have the Juwan conversation? When does that become part of this?
I'm not even worried about that. I can't do much more of this. I can't come on here every single night and fake it like everything's okay when it's not.
It's the inverse of last year, though. I said this to you in text. Is it not? This is exactly the opposite of what happened.
But I mean this in the nicest way possible. I'm not as good at you at being unbearable when this shit's going on. I don't think I did enough last year to inflict what my team was going. I feel like I let you slide. You are way better at this.
Am I really being that bad?
No, it's not. It's just like at a certain point, I just get sick of saying so many nice things about these guys. It's not fair. They were supposed to not be good.
Yeah, they were.
And I'd be fine with them being okay, but now they're like legit good. And I have to like say that and I can't lie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I give you credit for doing it, but
whatever.
That's how I felt last year, dude. That's how I felt. I came on the show and said Michigan State was going to lose 15 games. And then they lost.
And then they almost did.
And I was wrong.
And then they almost did.
But no, at this point last year, though, like, Michigan State looked nasty and won the Champions Classic because Mady Sissoko was Euro stepping. Like, I had to come on camera after that and be like, what the hell is happening? Michigan State looks nasty. Why is my team losing to Amani Bates? Like, that happened. The only lesson here is that expectations suck. I never want my team to have expectations ever again. Ever.
Me either.
It's the best.
Me either.